Of course, it is International Women's Day, the annual celebration of the cultural, political and socio-economic achievements of women. But in 2022, is this global commemoration relevant? Is it even necessary? Well, I have two guests joining me now on the show. Ella Whelan is a political journalist, author and contributor to Spiked.online. And Dr Mary McCauliffe is Director of Gender Studies at UCD. Ladies, you are both very welcome along to Newstalk Breakfast this morning. Ella, let me start with you. You've described International Women's Day as contemporary feminism gone wrong. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, it sounds controversial, doesn't it? But really what I mean is that I think a lot of the discussion about women's politics, it focuses either on the wrong thing or indeed does more damage to women's freedom than it should do. So if you look at the coverage of International Women's Day today and what the UN is prioritizing, there's a big section of its campaign called Break the Bias. That's the hashtag that's trending and that they're using, that looks at women's sport. So it talks about how we need to have equity in women's sport and better coverage and all that business. At no point does it address the main discussion that's been happening in relation to women's sport and fairness in women's sport, which is the row over inclusion of trans women. Now, whatever you think, whatever side of that debate you're on, you would imagine that International Women's Day coverage would pick up on that because lots of women worldwide are saying that that is an issue. But no, that's not addressed. That's not part of it. If you look at what the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' speech about his sort of address about International Women's Day posted online today, is at a time when women in many, many countries are watching their gas bills quadruple and, zeros being added on the end of their bills and worrying about how they're going to heat their homes. His address is saying that we need more women leaders to address climate change. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is that it's at best irrelevant. And I think at worst, avoidance tactics, because there are very serious things that women face today, whether it be access to abortion rights. There's problems in America, there's problems in Europe, in Poland, whether it's discussions about what women need in terms of childcare or practical things like that. I want to have all those conversations. But the official International Women's Day kind of pantomime, I think at best is an avoidance tactic, and at worst kind of makes it out to be this sort of fluffy, let's be nice to women and women do all the good things, which I think is really an insult to a serious look at women's politics.
OK. Dr Mary McCauliffe, is it all a bit patronising that we're patting women on the back here?
Well, I think those examples are of the type of neoliberal feminist activism that does continue at high political levels that has always been thus. And International Women's Day was created to counteract that. And that's why International Women's Day continues to be very, very important. So today, whatever the UN are saying, whatever the political leaders are saying, whatever the elite sport organisation are saying, and I'm very glad they're not having a transphobic argument on International Women's Day, because trans women are women as well. It is the grassroots feminist-led organisations that, for me, are the most important on International Women's Day. So we look at all our great feminist leaders in Ireland, for example. We have traveller women, we have women in direct provision, we have women leading on the conversations about male violence against women. We have women leading outside of those neoliberal capitalist systems. And they get a platform on International Women's Day that oftentimes they don't get at the rest of the year. And I'm very glad not only do we have now International Women's Day in Ireland, but from next year we'll have 2 whole days in the year in which we discuss women's rights and women's issues. Because of course we'll have Bridget's Day.
But Mary McCauliffe, don't we discuss that all of the time throughout the year? I mean, carving out 2 days. No, hold on. We do, because carving out 2 days or 1 day in a year where we say, aren't we great? And here's what we still don't have. I just wonder, is it more about virtue signalling than actually concrete change, which happens in every sphere? I mean, you see companies co-opting women onto boards. We have quotas being, coming in as well. That's an everyday thing, is it not?
It is not. If you look at the representation of women in the media, if you look at the representation of women on over the airwaves, not talking about yourself now, it's great to hear women's voices. You see that the majority are still male voices talking about male concerns almost every day of the year. So why have we not got a national childcare programme that should have been instituted many years ago, despite women shouting up and down the country about the necessity of it? There was even an article again the other day about the fact that without a national childcare problem, and this has been exposed by COVID, that we will not get women workers back into the workplace. This is problematic. And if you say this gets platformed every day of the year, it doesn't. That's the problem. It gets occasional newspaper articles, it gets occasionally talked about on the radio, but there isn't any of the joined up thinking, there isn't the consistency. And International Women's Day is a day in which we can talk about these. Like, for example, today I am going to a seminar on male violence, and I think that's very important. But it has been a couple of months since the horrific murder in January, and we're still waiting for any sort of legislation to come out of this government.
All right. Ella, Whelan, what could be done to make International Women's Day more relevant or necessary again? Does it come down to maybe just having more women in politics or at the highest level of corporate life?
No, I really have to challenge this idea that it sounds like a really kind of reductionist an insulting view. You know, the idea that if you just had a few more women, just a kind of few more ladies in Parliament, that life would be better. I mean, that is centering around the sexist idea that women are fundamentally different to men. You know, we're nicer, we address things in a kind of more caring
we might
way.
be more interested in addressing the things that matter to other women. I mean, in the Irish Parliament, it's far less than 20%, fewer than 1 in 5 parliamentarians are women.
Yeah, and if you look at the kind of examples that we've had throughout political history of late, I mean, we had some very high-profile female leaders. I mean, Angela Merkel being one of them, never implemented anything in any way, shape, or form related to benefiting either childcare policies or anything that would help women in German politics. We've had two in the UK, you know, Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May. I mean, neither of them at all interested in doing anything in relation to bettering women's politics. The problem with so much, I mean, you know, I take Mary's point about, you know, using words like neoliberal and capitalist in relation to childcare policy. I mean, one of the issues about looking at childcare is that it is not simply just it's not just a kind of a nice thing to do for women. It's about fundamentally changing the way we understand work and child rearing. It's an exciting, from my point of view, and big project to take on. But it's not. We should stop seeing it as kind of women's issues, ladies' issues.
Indeed.
And I think anything, you know, if you want to go to a seminar on International Women's Day, if you want to wear a nice badge, if you want to do whatever, that's no problem with that. Talking about women's history is interesting. This was was originally International Working Women's Day, organised by Russian workers, Clara Zetkin, Bolsheviks, people who had some serious politics.
Okay.
And talking about that's fine, but this kind of just let's celebrate women thing, it's guff that I think most women aren't interested in.
And I don't think that's quite what Mary was saying. But Ella Whelan, a political journalist, and Dr Mary McCauliffe, Director of Gender Studies at UCD, thank you for continuing this important conversation on International Women's Day.